We have been called to make disciples of Jesus Christ in our city and throughout this world. That must include the young people who live in our homes and in our churches. And so I'm thankful that you care enough about the young people of Piney Ridge Church, your students, your family, and you care enough about this church and about Jesus Christ that you want to seek to help them to grow in knowing Him, loving Him, trusting Him, and worshiping with all that they are. The curriculum that we are choosing to help us in this process of making disciples of these students is from Truth 78, and it's called Teach Me Your Way. The subtitle of Teach Me Your Way is A Study for Youth on Surrender to Christ and Submission to His Way. This is about surrendering to Christ and submitting to His way. This is what we want for our students. This is what we want for ourselves and what we want for everybody in this world. That they would surrender to Christ. They would submit to His way in faith, in love, obedience, and worship. And so I'm excited about this teaching curriculum that we're going to be using. For those who are teaching, though, we need some help. And this help is not just in the actual curriculum itself, though it is very user-friendly. It gives us sometimes word for word of what to say, questions to ask, and sometimes they might need to be adapted, and that's fine. But I want to point out a few helps in addition to the actual curriculum itself. Number one is there's an introduction section. The introduction section of this book, which we are providing a digital version of this book to all of our teachers that we will be having on rotation. But the introduction section lays out kind of the format of the book and gives you some ways to focus on and pray for and prepare for teaching these students. The second thing is at the beginning of each lesson, there is kind of a one-page summary of the lesson itself. And it gives you the focus statement, the key verse, main ideas, scriptures, and so forth, and even some preparation tips. And this is just helpful to get you focused on what you're going to be teaching and a high-level overview, a big picture of what we're going to be talking about and focusing in on. And the last thing, or actually one of the last things that I want to point out is there's an appendix at the back. And the appendix has several articles. It has training tips. It has teaching ideas, and it has a list of things you might want to utilize for teaching each class that you have. So recommended ideas of things to have. We do have also a teaching aid of it's a visual aid CD so that we can use through our computer to put up on the TV screen to give some slides to focus in the students as they are listening and discussing with us. The students also will have one of these. It is a student journal. Teach Me Your Way student journal. It has an in-class section, so each lesson that we're teaching, they will have something to go along with and to follow along together with us. And then there's our at-home section that they will build upon with that for each lesson that we teach. And so we're going to be encouraging all of the students to have one of these. The other thing that you have at your fingertips is us as pastors, leaders. You have questions, you're going through the curriculum, and you're wondering, how do I teach this? I'm not sure I agree with this or understand this, or how would I word this, or the scripture passage. I'm not totally sure I understand it, or whatever it is. Ask us. We're here for you. We're here with you. We're going to be teaching these lessons as well, many of us. And so we're going to be on rotation, and it's going to take some pressure off of us as we are preparing, but there will be preparation required. As I said, that reading some of the introduction, the appendix can be helpful, but especially reading that overview, that beginning page for each lesson is going to be really helpful. And then one thing that's really important that I point out is that we're not going to be going through the lesson exactly as it's laid out. So the format, the way they have it structured, is that we have an introduction, a large group lesson, and then a small group discussion time, more large group discussion and teaching, then small group discussion, and then ending with large group. We're actually going to break up our large group lesson time and our small group discussion time on 2 different Sundays. So the first time we meet is the second Sunday of every month. And that time is we'll be doing the large group discussion. We'll do the introduction, large group discussion. That's what you'll be doing as teachers. So every small group discussion section you find in this curriculum book, we're not going to be utilizing on the second Sunday. In fact, that will only be for the fourth Sunday when we have our discipleship groups. And those discipleship leaders discipleship group leaders will be going over the small group discussion times. There shouldn't be a whole lot of problems with this as you're teaching, but you might need to think about transitioning and skipping over those small group discussion times. So I need to say anything or change any of the wording there to make it fit. So reading it beforehand, getting familiar with it will help you in being able to teach well. We don't want to just strictly read word for word from the curriculum guide to the students so that they can engage with us. So if we're familiar with it, we can kind of write our own notes in it and stuff. And so, as I said, you'll be getting your own digital version of it, and you can print it out and use it for each lesson you teach. But since there's going to be a rotation, you might be teaching every 3 or 4 months. And so hopefully that will also ease some pressure as you are moving forward and be able to have plenty of time to prepare. The number one thing to do, though, besides reading the introduction and the lesson scope up front, the focus of that, the appendix, and asking us for help as your pastors, and even preparing yourself, is just to pray. To pray and ask the Lord to work in you and through you and in the students. Thank you for joining with us in this and for allowing us to partner with you in it. So just know that we are praying for you. We are here with you and for you. If you have any questions about any of this, please don't hesitate to ask.